Good day, everyone. Today we are going to have a discussion on the subject criminal law for the purpose of review lamang po, ano? So, disclaimer po tayo, hindi po tayo abogado, kaya yung ating pagkakaintindi lamang on the discussion on criminal law is based lamang sa ating field on criminology. Okay, so let's start with first defining what is criminal law. So, we have here the definition. When we say criminal law, it refers to a branch of law which defines crimes, treats of their nature, and provide for their punishment. It's very simple naman po to understand and memorize what does the criminal law refers to. Tandaan po natin na pag sinabi natin criminal law, that is a branch of law. Kasi we have a lot of different types of law that exist actually in our country. Yan ang primary purpose of the criminal law is to define crimes. Kaya kung mapapansin ninyo po, under the criminal law, especially on Criminal Law Book 2, nandun po yung mga different elements, kasi the different elements defines what is that specific type of crime. Kaya po nalalaman natin kung ano po yung pinagkaiba, for example, ng murder, tsaka homicide, then parricide, and two other types of killing. It is being defined by the different elements that the criminal law provides for each crimes. Yung treats of their nature naman po, that usually refers to how or the different circumstances that exist under our criminal law. Say for example, meron tayo dito yung mga tinatawag nating justifying circumstances. We have the exempting circumstances, we have the mitigating circumstances, aggravating circumstances, and alternative circumstances. So, yung mga circumstances na po na to, ay actually it affects the criminal liability of one person committing a crime. It may exempt, it may mitigate, it may justify the action, and so on. Yun po yung part ng criminal law na nagbibigay ng proper treatment depending upon the nature of the crime that has been committed and depending upon the nature of the criminal who committed the crime. Okay? Then the last, which is very important, is the provided punishment, because criminal law not only defines crime but also provides for their punishment. Tandaan po natin yun. Ang criminal law, nagde-define ng crime at nagbibigay din po ng kaukulang parusa for each crime that is being committed, as we know of naman under the Criminal Law Book 2, because every crime, meron siyang kaakibat na parusa depending upon the nature and seriousness of the crime committed. Okay? The next here is we have the characteristic of a criminal law. Pag sinabi natin characteristic of criminal law, tatlo lang po yun. We have generality, we have territoriality, we have prospectivity. Or generality, territorial, prospective. Madali lang pong tandaan yan. Ngayon, what does the generality characteristic of criminal law implies? Ano pong ibig niyang sabihin? Pag sinabi natin that the criminal law is general, or general in application, ibig pong sabihin yan that the criminal law or our criminal law is binding on all person. Ibig pong sabihin, lahat po ng tao dito sa Pilipinas ay subject to the application of the criminal law. Whether you are a permanent or just a visitor of our country, nadalaw ka lang, namamasyal ka lang, or di kaya yung residente ka dito sa Pilipinas, kapag po ikaw ay may ginawang krimen that violates the criminal law of our country, you are subject to the application of the criminal law. So, hindi po pwedeng sabihin na hindi naman ako taga rito, or ako naman ay taga ibang bansa, kaya hindi nyo ako pwedeng parusahan or hindi nyo ako pwedeng kasuhan base sa inyong batas. The mere fact na ikaw ay nasa Pilipinas, kailangan ikaw ay managot kapag ikaw po ay may violate na crime defined under our criminal law. Again, the concept of generality as a characteristic of criminal law refers that the criminal law in our country is binding on all person who resides or sojourn in the Philippines, no? Binding, yun yung magiging word po natin na dapat tandaan for the characteristic of generality. Okay, the second characteristic of criminal law is we have the territoriality. Ano naman po ang ibig sabihin yan? No? Territoriality refers that the penal laws of the Philippines are enforceable only within its territory. No? Ibig pong sabihin, ang kapangyarihan po ng ating criminal law na magparusa, no, para sa mga violators ng ating batas, no, ay hanggang sa teritoryo lang ng Pilipinas. It means that we cannot apply, hindi natin pwedeng i-apply ang ating batas sa mga lugar na hindi naman sakop ng teritoryo ng ating bansa. No? Say for example, ang taong nag-commit ng crime, ay nasa ibang bansa. Okay? Hindi natin siya pwedeng habulin kasi siya ay outside the territory of the Philippines. No? However, of course, mayroong mga exemptions yan which later on i-discuss naman natin. Pero yan po ang konsepto ng territoriality. No? Ang kapangyarihan lang po ng batas natin, ng criminal law na magparusa ay doon lamang po sa teritoryo ng ating bansa. So that is the concept of the territoriality characteristic of our criminal law. And the third one is the prospective. No? Ang criminal law po natin is prospective. Ibig pong sabihin yan, our criminal law cannot have a retroactive effect. Hindi po siya po pwede na magparusa ng mga bagay-bagay or ng mga gawa na hindi pa naman pinaparusahan nung ito ay nakumit. Hindi po pwede na ang batas po natin ay parusahan ang mga gawa, no, na hindi pa naman ipinagbabawal nung ito ay nagawa. So prospective po, no? Or in other reference, sinasabi niya the retrospectivity. Ayun, retrospectivity, no? The law does not have a retroactive effect. Hindi po pabaliktad or hindi po paurong ang pag-apply ng ating criminal law. Kung merong nagawang batas, ang mapaparusahan lang po ay yung mga gawa, no? Yung mga actions or yung mga actions na nagawa, no? After the creation of that law. Okay? Hindi po pabalik. Okay? Anyway, there are exemption again to that. Okay? So basically, those are the three characteristics of our criminal law. Okay? Then on next topic, meron tayo dito yung mga exemption to the general application of the law. No? This is the exemption doon sa characteristic ng criminal law na general or generality. No? So the first one is we have the treaty of stipulation. We have the second one, the law of preferential application. And the third is the principle of public international law. Okay? So there are instances po kasi, no, na kahit ikaw ay nag-commit ng crime sa Pilipinas ay hindi ka po magiging sakop, no, ng application ng ating criminal law for the reason that maybe because meron tayong mga treaty, no, or meron tayong mga preferential applications and the like, no. For example po, ano, meron tayong mga different embassy that exists in our country, no? Embassy po 'yan, embahada ng mga taga-ibang bansa, no? Nakaalyado din po natin. Etong mga embahada na ito, no? Itong embassies, mga establishment that is considered as an embassy of other countries is actually not considered as a territory of our country, no? Rather, it is an extension of the territory of the country which the embassy represents, no? So for example, merong embahada ang China dito, no? So China, that the Chinese embassy will not be considered as the part of the territory of the Philippines despite the fact na ito ay matatagpuan sa Pilipinas, no? Bakit po ganun? No, it's because we have a treaty regarding that. Ganun naman din po tayo. No, kung meron po tayong embahada sa China, no, yun po ay may consider din na extension of our territory. So whatever is happening inside, no, whatever is happening inside, ano man ang magawa nilang, ano man ang mangyari doon sa loob, ay wala pong jurisdiction or wala pong authority yung bansa no, na nandoon kung saan nakalagay yung embahada na yun, no, wala po silang jurisdiction. No? So, yun yung mga instances na kung saan is kahit nasa teritoryo natin, nag-commit sila ng crime, hindi po sila magiging sakop ng ating criminal law. Okay? Then, moving on to the next one, we have here the exemption of territorial application, no, of the criminal law. We made mention that only within the territory of Philippines pwede nating i-apply ang criminal law natin, no? But there are instances wherein kahit nasa labas na ng teritoryo ng ating bansa, no, kahit ito ay nasa teritoryo na ng ibang bansa, ay pwede pa rin maging sakop ng batas natin, no, yung crime na nakomit. Okay? So, ano-ano po yung mga instances na yun? We have, for example, here, offenses committed while on Philippine ship or airship. No? Say, for example, yung barko ng Pilipinas, no, naglalayag papunta sa China at nandun na siya sa teritoryo ng China, and it so happens na meron pong crime na nangyari doon sa loob ng barko ng Pilipinas. Now, for that matter, it will be our law that will take effect. No, yung batas pa rin po natin ang mag-a-apply. Bakit po ganun? No, nandoon naman na sila sa teritoryo ng China. No, yung barko naman po is nasa teritoryo na ng China. Yes, that is true, but then again, no, yung registered Philippine ship, no, kapag yan po ay rehistrado sa bansang Pilipinas, no, yan po ay magiging considered na extension of the territory of the Philippines. No, it will be considered as an extension of the territory of the Philippines. It means na yan pa rin po ay teritoryo natin. Yung barko po, yung barko sa loob ng barko, no, ay magiging teritoryo pa rin po natin kasi yan po ay registered sa ating bansa. So whatever happens there, ang meron pong jurisdiction doon is our criminal law here in Philippines. The same applies also, for example, yung forging or counterfeiting any coin or currency note of the Philippines or obligation and security issued by the government. No? Ibig mong sabihin, kapag po kinounterfeit, pineke po nila ang pera natin, no, kahit po yung nasa ibang bansa yung nag-counterfeit, no, ay pwedeng or magiging subject pa rin po sila ng territorial application ng ating criminal law. Pwede pa rin po natin i-apply ang batas natin sa kanila for the reason na ang ginagawa po nilang crime is specifically victimizing the Philippine government or the country. Diba? So, dahil yung pera po natin ang pinipeke nila, kaya magiging answerable pa rin po sila sa atin kahit sila po ay nasa ibang bansa. No? And then we also have the introduction into the country of the above mentioned obligation and securities. No, or di naman kaya is while being a public officer, no, an offense is committed in the exercise of their function. No? And the last one is the crimes against national security and the law of the nations defined under Title 1 of the Book 2. So ito yung namang crimes like for example, treason, something like that. So kahit po sila ay nasa ibang bansa, they can still be answerable by the law of our country, for that matter. Then we have here the exemption to the prospective application of law. No? The third characteristic of criminal law, diba, sabi natin prospective. Ano po yung exemption niyan? It will apply, no, or the criminal law will have a prospective, no, application if kapag po, no, the law is favorable to the accused. Okay? So for example, no, halimbawa lang po ang parusa po halimbawa ng pagpatay, no, is 20 years, 1 day to 40 years. Example lang po yan. Ngayon, nakulong si Pedro or nahuli si Pedro, found guilty si Pedro ng case of homicide when the law still provides 20 years, 1 day to 40 years na punishment. No? So, nung nakulong siya, ang parusa pa lang po ng pagpatay is 20 years, 1 day to 40 years. Then, habang nandun siya sa kulungan, no, nagkaroon ng amendment, nagkaroon ng pagbabago doon sa batas, no, especially doon sa kaparusahan ng pagpatay. No? So, naibaba ito ng 12 years, 1 day to 20 years. Okay? For that matter, no, mag-a-apply ngayon yung batas na bago doon sa kaso ni Pedro kasi nga, no, favorable ito sa kanya. No? So, favorable. Kumbaga, is panig ito sa kanya. No? So, for that matter, magkakaroon ng prospective application yung batas. No? So long as it is favorable to the accused. Pag hindi po siya favorable, hindi po yan magkakaroon ng prospective application. Okay? Hindi po pwede na halimbawa is nung nakulong si Pedro, ang kaso ng pagpatay is 12 years, 1 day to 20 years, no? Tapos nung nandun na siya sa loob ng kulungan, nagkaroon ng amendments or binago yung kaparusahan ng pagpatay at naging 20 years, 1 day to 40 years, tumaas, no? Hindi po pwede na yung bagong batas ay mag-apply doon sa kaso ni Pedro for the matter that it is not favorable to the accused. Okay? However, there are exemption to the exemption rule. Ano ba yung mga exemption doon? No? Ang sinasabi po natin is when the law is favorable to the accused, it will have a prospective application. Ano pong exemption dyan? No? First one is that the new law is expressly made inapplicable to pending action or existing causes of action. So, ibig pong sabihin, kapag specifically meron sa bagong batas na nagsasabing that this provision shall not apply, no, to cases that has been decided prior to the enactment of the law, sabi niyang ganyan, no, yan po ay hindi talaga mag-a-apply kasi the law explicitly provides, kumbaga, mismong batas ang nagsabi na hindi po dapat ito mag-apply sa mga kaso na nauna ng nadesisyonan. No? So, exemption yan to the prospective application. So, kahit po favorable yung bagong batas doon sa accused, pero pag sinabi po ng batas or ng bagong batas na yan na hindi dapat siya mag-apply sa mga kaso dati ng nadesisyonan, hindi po yan mag-a-apply. No? And the second one is the offender is habitual criminal. So, we know already what is habitual criminal naman, ano? Yung paulit-ulit na lang nagko-commit ng crime. So, kahit po, no, yung bagong batas, no, ay favorable, no, sa accused, kapag siya po ay considered as habitual delinquent or habitual criminal, ay hindi po yan mag-a-apply doon sa kaso, no, nung taong yan. So long as he is considered as habitual criminal. Okay? So those are the different exemption to the characteristic of criminal law. Okay? So the next topic, who creates the law? Sino ba kasi ang gumagawa ng batas na yan? So ang lawmaking body ng ating sa ating bansa, well, we are aware naman, I'm sure, of the three branches of the government. No? The three branches of the government are composed of the judiciary, the executive, and then the legislative. No? Ang tagagawa po ng ating batas is on the legislative branch of the government. No? Sino po ang nasa legislative branch of the government? They are the Congress. No? Yung mga Congress. Okay, so sila po ang gumagawa ng ating batas. The composition of the Congress, no, is meron po tayong the upper house and then the lower house. The upper house, sila po yung ating Senate, no, the House of the Senate. Okay, sila po yung sasabi natin the upper house of the Congress. No? Yung lower house naman po natin, no, ay binubuo po yan ng ating mga elected representatives. No? So the representatives, sila po yung lower house. Okay? Itong dalawa pong ito, the upper house and the lower house, the Senate and the representatives are the one responsible in creating or crafting a law. Okay? Sila po ang tagagawa ng ating batas. Okay? Then we have here the limitation on the power of the Congress to enact penal laws. Ano po yung mga limitasyon, no, ng kapangyarihan ng Congress, no, sa paggawa ng batas? Number 1 po is ex post facto law. Ibig pong sabihin yan ay hindi po pwede na gumawa ang Congress natin ng mga batas na nagpaparusa sa mga bagay-bagay na hindi pa naman maituturing na krimen nung ito ay ginawa. No? So if you can remember, the third characteristic of criminal law, which is the prospective, no? ganyan din po ang konsepto ng ex post facto law. No? Hindi po pwede na ang Kongreso po natin ay gagawa ng batas na paparusahan ang mga act that has been previously committed when the time is not yet, or when the act is not yet considered as punishable. Okay, so limitation po nila yon. Hindi po nila pwedeng gawin yon. Okay, then the second one is the Bill of Attainder. Ano naman po yung Bill of Attainder? No? The same thing, hindi rin po pwede, nagagawa po ang ating Congress ng mga magbigay ng batas na nagpaparusa, no, bago ito magkaroon ng hearing, no, the law, or they cannot create a law that punish, no, that will issue punishment before it they cannot create a law that condemns, no, a certain person before it hears, no, the cases. So hindi po pwede na meron silang batas na magpaparusa na agad, no, habang hindi pa natatapos yung proseso. Okay, so yun po yung konsepto ng tinatawag nating Bill of Attainder. Okay, and then the third one is that the law that violates the Equal Protection Clause of the Constitution. Okay, so the same thing, no, they cannot create a law, no, na mas aangatan yung ating mother law in our country, which is the Constitution. No? So hindi po pwede na yung batas na gagawin ng Congress is susuwayin, no, or kokontrahin yung nandoon sa ating Constitution. Okay, so lahat po ng batas natin ay dapat po ay nakaangkla, kumbaga nakadepend doon sa provision ng ating Constitution, because the Constitution is considered as the highest law of the land, no, the highest law of the land. Okay, then the fourth one is that law which imposes cruel and unusual punishment nor excessive fine. No, hindi po pwede na yung Congress po natin ay gagawa ng mga batas na kung saan is nagbibigay ng cruel, no, cruel or unusual, kakaiba ng mga parusa or mga excessive fine, sobrang multa. No? So hindi po pwedeng gumawa ang ating Kongreso ng mga batas na ganyan. Okay, so yun po yung limitation on the power of the Congress to enact penal law. Okay. In the board examination kasi ng criminology, hindi nawawala itong French rule and English rule na ito, ano? So ano ba yung pinagkaiba ng French rule at English rule in terms of the application of criminal law, no? Ang French rule po, ang sinasabi po ng French rule is that crimes committed aboard a foreign vessel within the territorial water of a country, no, are not triable in the courts of such country. No? Kung maalala niyo po yung example na sinasabi ko kanina, no? Na halimbawa yung barko ng Pilipinas, okay, naglalayag doon sa teritoryo ng China. Merong nakomit doon na crime, kaninong jurisdiction po, no? Sino po ang may kapangyarihan, no, na magdinig, no, na magdinig doon sa kaso, doon sa krimen na nangyari doon sa loob ng barko, no? If we are following the French rule, no, then definitely ang may jurisdiction po nito, no, is kung saan galing yung barko. Okay, kung saan po galing yung barko, no? As stated in the French rule, crimes committed aboard a foreign vessel within the territorial waters of a country are not triable in the courts of such country. So, ibig pong sabihin, kung yung barko ng Pilipinas nasa teritoryo ng China at merong nakomit na crime sa loob ng barko ng Pilipinas, under the French rule, ang may jurisdiction po, no, ang may kapangyarihang duminig, no, maglitis doon sa kaso na nangyari sa loob ng barko will be the Philippines, no, kung saan galing yung barko. No? Kabaliktaran po yan ng English rule, no? Because under the English rule, no, crimes committed aboard the foreign vessel within the territorial waters of a country are triable in the courts of such country. No? So, ibig pong sabihin, kung yung barko ng Pilipinas naglalayag sa teritoryo ng China at may nakomit po na crime doon sa loob ng barko ng Pilipinas ang merong kapangyarihang dinggin, litisin po ang krimen na nangyari sa loob ng barko ng Pilipinas ay yung may-ari ng teritoryo kung saan nakadaong or saan na naglalayag yung barko ng Pilipinas. So that will be in China. Nakuha po natin yung pagkakaiba. No? Sa French rule, yung barko is an extension of territory. That's why, kung may krimeng mangyari doon, yung may-ari kung saan po nakaregister yung barko, yun po ang may karapatan na dinggin yung kaso. While the English rule is more on the territory mismo. No? Kung halimbawa, no, kahit saan galing yung barko na yan, mapagaling sa Japan, galing sa Amerika, no, so long as nasa teritoryo ito ng China, no, ang may kapangyarihan po na magdinig sa mga kaso kung may krimeng mangyari sa loob ng mga barkong ito, ay mismong yung bansa kung saan nandun yung mga barko. So that will be in China. That is the English rule. Okay? So we have exemption to the French rule, no? Ano yung exemption to the French rule? Commission affects the peace and security of the territory or the safety of the state is endangered. Halimbawa po, following the French rule, no? Again, yung barko natin sa Pilipinas nasa teritoryo ng China. May nangyaring crime doon, no? May nangyaring crime doon sa loob ng barko. Ngayon, no, if we are using the French rule, dapat ang merong kapangyarihan dito is yung barko, yung territory kung saan galing yung barko, which is Philippines. Pero kapag, no, yung crime na na-commit sa loob ng barko ng Pilipinas na nasa teritoryo ng China affects the peace and security of the territory of China, ibig pong sabihin is naapektuhan ang China, no, sa nangyaring krimen sa loob ng barko ng Pilipinas, mag-a-apply po ang kumbaga magkakaroon po ng jurisdiction ang China over the crime committed in the airship or Philippine vessel of the Philippines. Halimbawa po nito, nagpatayan po sila, pinasabog po nila yung barko kasi nagwelga yung mga nandoon sa loob ng barko ng Pilipinas, no, nagmutiny sila, no, and because of that pinasabog nila yung some part of the vessel, no, which already affected, no, yung peace and security ng China mismo, di ba? Kasi meron ng external effect for that matter, no, even if we're following the French rule, may kapangyarihan na po ang China na mag-take over at sila na po ang magdinig or lumitis doon sa kaso kasi apektado na po sila. Now, yun po yung exemption to the French rule. Now, under the English rule naman po, no, again, ang English rule is kung saan galing kung saan matatagpuan yung barko, kaninong teritoryo matatagpuan yung barko, yun po ang may jurisdiction over the crime committed inside that vessel. So, halimbawa, no, yung example nga natin that yung barko ng Pilipinas nasa teritoryo ng China, kung English rule ang susundin, ang China po ang may karapatang magdinig ng kaso, no, kung meron mang krimen na mangyari doon sa loob ng barko, no, kahit ito ay barko ng Pilipinas, kahit ito ay barko ng Amerika, no, basta ito po ay nasa teritoryo ng China, ang China po ang may karapatang duminig sa kaso ng mga krimeng mangyayari doon following the English rule. However, there are some exemption. Ano po yung exemption natin dyan? When the crime merely affect things within the vessel or it refers to the internal management thereof. No? Kapag po halimbawa ang crime na nangyari is limited lang doon sa mismong loob ng barko at it does not have an external effect, no? Yan po ang magiging exemption. Halimbawa po, nagkaroon lang po ng pagtatalo yung mga miyembro yung mga nandun sa loob ng barko, no? Miyembro nila, yung mga yung kapitan, tsaka yung mga seafarers, something like that. Nagkaroon lang po sila ng pagtatalo, no? Ay hindi na po makikialam ang China for that matter. Kasi sa loob lang naman yun, internal issue lang naman yun, or internal management issues lang naman. So it's not necessary that the Chinese government will took over, no, at dinggin yung kaso ng mga ganon, no. Pero pag crime na po ang usapan, automatic po, no, that the China will have a jurisdiction over the crime committed, no, if we are following the English rule. Okay? I hope po malinaw, no? Malinaw po yung pagkakapaliwanag natin ng pagkakaiba ng French rule at English rule. Now, the next topic tayo, we have here felonies and circumstances which affect the criminal liability. No, ano-ano po yung mga yan. But before we could be able to discuss that, let us familiarize some terms muna. We have here the term felony. Pag sinabi po natin felony, no, it refers to an act and omission punishable by the revised penal code, no? So kapag ang crime po is defined by the revised penal code, ang tawag po natin dyan felony, no? Pag sinabi naman po natin crime may refer to an act or omission punishable by law. No? Masasabi po natin na crime yung isang gawa kapag meron pong batas na na-violate or meron pong batas na nagsasabi that that is punishable. Okay? Then we have also the term act, no? Pag sinabi nating act, no, it refers to an overt or external act, no? Pag overt, ibig sabihin state of mind, no, o iniisip mo pa lamang, that is already considered as an act, no? Yung pagplaplano, that is an act, no? External act naman kapag halimbawa meron na talagang meron ng physical action na ginawa. Say for example, yung panununtok, that is external act, no? Pero yung iniisip mo kung paano mo sasaktan yung isang tao, that is an overt act pa lang. Pero both of them are considered as an act. Okay? Then we have here the term omission. Pag sinabi nating omission, no, ibig pong sabihin yan, failure to perform a duty required by law, no? Kasi 'di ba nabanggit natin yung omission and commission. No, pag commission, committed, no, ginawa mo. No, pag omission naman, you failed to do, no, a duty required by law, omit, no, or omission, hindi mo ginawa yung isang bagay na dapat mong gawin. So that is omission. Okay? Now, let's first talk about felony, no? Felony, as we have stated, refers to offenses punishable by the revised penal code. Ano ba yung elements ng felony na yan? No? Masasabi natin that there is a felony committed if we have the following elements. What are those? Number one, there must be an act or omission. O, diba? We define already what is an act and what is an omission. So, before it can be considered as felony, dapat meron tayong act, no? And meron tayong omission, no? Then the second one is that this must be punishable by the revised penal code, no? Merong action, merong omission, no? At yung action or omission na yan is pinaparusahan ng ating revised penal code. Okay? So, yun yung dalawang importanteng element ng felony. Then, the third one is that the act or omission was done by means of dolo or culpa. No? Yung act or omission, ginawa yon, no, sa pamamagitan ng dolo or culpa. Ano ba yung dolo? Ano yung culpa? So, dolo refers to deceit or the existence of deceit. No? Yung panloloko or may intention, may intent. Pag culpa, there is fault or negligence or imprudence, no? Yung ibig sabihin, wala naman siyang intention pero meron siyang kapabayaan. So that is culpa, no? If the three elements are present, then there is a felony. Tandaan po natin yan. Pag meron pong act or omission, yung act or omission is punishable by the revised penal code, and that the act or omission is done or was committed by means of deceit, no, or by means of negligence, imprudence, and so on, fault, no, that means that there is already a felony. Yan po yung lagi nating isipin. Halimbawa po, ano, yung pananampal, is that a felony? No? First is that let's try to see kung there is an act or omission. Na meron bang act? Meron ba siyang ginawa? Meron. Ano po yung ginawa niya? Yung pananampal. Ngayon, second element, this must be punishable by the revised penal code. Yung pananampal po ba ay pinaparusahan ng ating revised penal code? No? If the answer is yes, then pasok siya doon sa second element. No? Yung act or omission, yung pananampal po ba na ginawa, the act or omission, is it done no, by means of dolo, no? Meron po bang deceit, meron po bang intent, meron po bang malice, no? Perhaps siguro sabihin nating wala, no? Hindi naman niya sinasadya. Okay, so sabihin nating wala, no? Pero meron ba siyang negligence or imprudence? Meron bang kapabayaan kaya niya nasampal yung isang tao? If there is, no? If there is, then that is under culpa, which means that it is still considered as a felony. Okay, ganun po So those are the three elements of a felony. Okay, we have here the next topic with the classification of felonies according to the means by which they are committed. Now, so we have first the intentional felony. Intentional felony, what does it mean by intentional felony? Pag intentional felony po, it means that the felony is committed by means of deceit, no? Or dolo. Okay? Kasi 'di ba sabi natin kanina, it could either be committed, no, yung act or omission may be done by means of dolo or by means of culpa. So the first classification of felony is those that are committed by means of dolo or deceit. Ano po yung requirements or requisite niyan, no? Para po masabi natin that there is deceit or there is dolo, there must be freedom, no? Meron dapat freedom on the part of the person committing the crime or committing the felony. There must be freedom, there must be intelligence, and there must be an intent. So yun po yung kailangan nating tandaan para masabi that the crime is intentional. Dapat po meron siyang kalayaan, no, na gumawa ng kahit anong gusto niyang gawin, no. Pangalawa po is meron siyang sapat na tawag dito, hindi naman kaalaman, sapat na knowledge, kumbaga, no, or intelligence, may kakayahan po siyang mag-isip. The third one is meron po siyang intention. So if those are present, then we can consider that the felony is deemed to be intentional. Okay? Sample case tayo dito. Okay, itong sample case natin. Pedro and Juan, no, are playing games on a laptop in Juan's house. At the time Pedro leaves, he took the laptop from the table, believing that it was his laptop and went home. Okay? So si Pedro at si Juan po ay naglalaro ng computer games, no, or ng online games sa kanilang kanilang laptop sa bahay ni Juan. Nung paalis na si Pedro, kinuha niya po yung laptop na nasa table, no, sa paniniwala na yun yung dala niya na laptop, no, at siya po ay umuwi. Ang tanong po natin dito, meron bang na-commit na crime si Pedro? Meron ba siyang na-commit na crime? Okay? So, for that matter, let's try to analyze whether there is a felony, there's a felony. So, you go back to the elements of felony, ano yung mga elements niya? There must be an act or omission. Meron bang act or omission? No, meron. Ano po yun? Yung pagkuha ng laptop. No, yun po yung act na sinasabi natin. Yung pagkuha ng laptop or pag-uwi niya doon sa laptop. Okay? The second elements of felony is that the act or omission must be punishable by the revised penal code. Now, is it punishable by the revised penal code? Yung pagkuha po ng laptop na hindi sa'yo? No? Yes, that is actually theft, no? Or depende yan kung ano yung elements, theft, robbery, qualified theft, and the like. No? So meron tayong provision ng ating batas na nagpaparusa, no, doon sa kaso na pagkuha ng property, no, or pag-aari ng ibang tao. Okay? Then the third one, the act or omission was done by means of dolo or culpa. Okay? So tignan po natin. Is there an intent? Meron kayang intent na kunin, no, or nakawin ni Pedro, no? Nakawin ni Pedro yung laptop ni Juan, no? Here it doesn't seem to have an intent. Wala naman po siyang intent kasi sabi niya, believing that it was his laptop. Akala niya yun yung laptop niya, no? So wala po siyang intent na kunin yung laptop ni Juan, no, or laptop ng ibang tao. Is there culpa? No, yun po yung gusto nating ma-settle down, no? Kung meron bang culpa, meron bang negligence, meron bang kapabayaan, bakit hindi niya napansin, hindi niya nakita, hindi niya na-realize na yun yung laptop niya. So for that matter, no, papasok yung discussion natin on the so-called mistake of facts. Okay, mistake of facts. Ano po yung mistake of facts na yan? Mistake of facts refers to the misapprehension of fact on the part of the person who caused injury to another. No? It seems so that the case of Juan or the case of Pedro here is a case of mistake of fact. Ibig mo sabihin na mali lang po siya ng pag-aakala, no, na yung kinuha niyang laptop ay akala niya yun yung laptop niya at hindi naman po pala, no? And no one reminded him, no? Wala namang nagsabi, "Uy, hindi yan yung laptop mo." No? So there is no negligence or imprudence on the part of Pedro, no? So for that matter, no, since we consider that it as a mistake of fact, no, he will not be considered as criminally liable, no, kasi meron tayong misapprehension of fact, no, maling pagkakaintindi doon sa mga bagay-bagay kaya po nakagawa ng isang pinagbabawal ng batas. That is a mistake of fact. However, not everything will be considered as mistake of fact. We need to consider the requisites, no? Ano ba yung mga requisites ng mistake of facts? First is that the act done would have been lawful had the facts been as the accused believed them to be. Diba? So in the case of Pedro, no, there will never be any violation at all if yung paniniwala niya is talagang totoo. Like for example, hindi ka naman makakasuhan ng krimen, hindi ka naman makakagawa ng krimen sa pamamagitan ng pag-uwi mo sa sarili mong laptop. It just so happen kasi na hindi pala yun yung kanyang laptop. So pasok siya doon sa first requisite natin. The second one is that the intention is lawful, no? Yung pag-uwi mo ba ng laptop mo is lawful? Yes, no? It just so happen na mali nga yung pagka-apprehend ni Pedro doon sa facts at hand, no? And the third one is that mistake must be without fault or carelessness by the accused. So yun po yung kailangan nating isettle. Now, is there carelessness on the part of Pedro? No? Is there fault in the case of Pedro? Meron sigurong a little bit fault, but it does not deem to affect, no? It doesn't deem to affect naman the fact that nagkamali lang siya ng kinuha na laptop. No? Kasi, say for example, kung halimbawa, inuwi niya yung laptop niya, tapos inuwi niya pa yung laptop ni Juan. So there is already malis pagdating sa ganun. But the fact, for example, na inuwi niya yung isang laptop at naiwan yung isang laptop, no, at nagkapalit lang po sila, then that proves that there is no fault or carelessness on the part of the accused, kasi yung intention niya naman po is not to take advantage or not to hindi para pagnakawan or pagsamantalahan, not for the purpose of gain and so on the part that will be injurious on the part of one. So clearly, no, that is just a case of a mistake of fact or misapprehension of fact. So Pedro will have no criminal liability for that matter. Okay? Then the second classification of felonies according to the means by which they are committed, we have the second one is the culpable felony. What is all about culpable felony? Now, so culpable felony refers to a types of felony that was committed by means of culpa or yung tinatawag natin by means of fault. Okay? Ano po yung requisite ng culpable felony? Now we have number 1, now freedom, second is intelligence, and third is negligence or lack of foresight, and imprudence, lack of skill. Okay? So, yung dalawang element, kaparehas lang po yan nung intentional felonies, no? Yung freedom and intelligence. Ang nawawala o napalitan lang po dito is yung tinatawag nating intent, no? Yung intent. So, kapag wala pong intent yung isang tao, tignan po natin kung meron bang negligence or meron tayong imprudence na present. Okay? Wala siyang intent na patayin yung isang tao, pero napatay niya. So, what could be the possible element, no, that pwedeng pumalit doon sa intent? yan yung tinatawag nating negligence or imprudence. No, halimbawa po, nagdra-drive ka po ng sasakyan mo, no? At meron kang nasagasaan na tao, namatay, no? So clearly, diyan po sa mga ganyang aksidente, hindi naman po natin masasabi na intentional yun o sinadya niyang banggain, sagasaan yung tao kasi nga po, we consider it as an accident. However, hindi po ibig sabihin that the person, no, that the driver has no longer incurred any criminal liability. No? Dahil po, wala naman akong intensyong sagasaan siya hindi ko naman sinadya. Ibig po bang sabihin nun, wala na pong kasalanan yung driver? Hindi po, no? Kasi we have the second way or second means of committing felony and that is by means of culpa. So, although walang intent, no? Pero yung intent po, pwede po nating palitan, no? Ng negligence or imprudence. Tignan po natin kung meron po bang kapabayaan doon sa part ng driver kaya po niya nasagasaan yung isang tao, no? Kung mabilis po ba siyang magpatakbo, is going beyond the speed limit, no? Or di kaya is kaskasero siya mag-drive and so on, pwede pa rin siyang maging liable for the death of the victim. No? Considering that the crime or classification of the crime or felony that he committed will fall under the so-called culpable felony. Okay, so yun po yung dalawa, no? Yun po yung dalawa na classification of felony according to the means, no? According to the means by which they are committed. In addition, no, to the culpable felonies, we have here some examples. No, we have here the error in persona, no, aberratio ictus, and praeter intentionem. Yung error in persona, no, refers to the mistake in identity. Okay? Halimbawa po, meron kang gustong patayin na tao, no? Ngayon, inaabangan mo siya sa halimbawa kung saan siya usually dumadaan, no? At nung may padaan na, akala mo siya yun, no? Tsaka ang pinagbabaril, yun pala ibang tao, no? Pwede kasing mawala under error and persona, no? Pwedeng mawala yung tinatawag nating intent, no? Pwedeng sabihin ng offender na hindi naman siya yung gusto kong patayin. Kumbaga, nagkamali lang ako, akala ko siya yon. So, error in persona yun, mistaken identity. Pwede niyang sabihin na wala naman akong intensyong saktan siya, hindi kasi siya yung talagang gusto kong patayin. Pero just so happen, siya yung namatay. So, is there no liability incurred? Wala na bang liability incurred if that's the case? No, hindi po. No? Meron pa rin po tayong tinatawag na culpable felony. And so on, error in persona, even if there's no intent on the part of the offender to kill the person, it just so happen na napagkamalan niya yung isang tao, kaya siya yung napatay, ay papasok pa rin po doon sa tinatawag nating culpable felony. Okay? Then the second one is the aberratio ictus or the mistake in the blow or mistake in blow or mistake in the blow. What is all about that? No? Halimbawa, iba yung gusto mong barilin, iba naman ang tinamaan. No? Say for example, gusto mong barilin si Pedro, no? Pero hindi mo tinamaan si Pedro, ang tinamaan yung tao sa likod ni Pedro. No? So that is mistake in the blow. No? Wala kang criminal intent doon sa taong namatay, pero merong namatay. So it will still it will still be considered as part of the so-called culpable felony. And you will be responsible. Na magiging responsible ka pa rin on the death of the victim, no, kahit na hindi siya yung talagang gusto mong barilin, no? Kahit hindi siya yung talagang gusto mong patayin. So it will be presumed, no, that even if there's no intent, no, that it will fall under the culpable felony or culpable felony. No, meron tayong fault, no, negligence or imprudence on your part, so you will be held liable still for the crime. Okay, that's the nature of the aberratio ictus. We have also the praeter intentionem, lack of intent, no, to commit so grave, so wrong. Okay, gusto mo lang siyang i-prank, no? Prank mo, nagulat, no, na heart attack because of your action. O yan, that is praeter intentionem, no? Hindi mo naman siya gustong patayin, pero ang gusto mo lang takutin siya. Pero yun yung naging dahilan kung bakit siya namatay, no? Hindi natin pwedeng sabihin that there is no intent on my part, no? Wala akong intent na patayin siya. The mere fact na namatay siya because of your action, no, you will be held liable for the consequences of your action. Now, even though it's under praeter intentionem, no, you will still be liable under culpable felonies. Okay, so I hope it's clear, no? Error in persona, no? Aberratio ictus, praeter intentionem, you are still incurring criminal liability. Okay, meron ka pa ring criminal liability na incur, no? As it falls still under the category of culpable felony. Okay? Then, next one, in addition to that, we have the so-called proximate cause, no? Proximate cause. Ano ba yung proximate cause? Proximate cause refers, no, to the natural and continuous sequence of unbroken by any efficient intervening causes produces the injury without which the result would not have occurred. No? So kung ano po yung naging sanhi, no, yung naging sanhi ng ng injury, no, or naging sanhi ng damage na na-receive ng victim, no, yung proximate cause po, yung major reason kung bakit po siya na-injured or bakit po nagkaroon ng damage, yun po yung tinatawag nating proximate cause. And if you are the cause of the proximate cause, then you will be held liable for the consequences of your action. Diyan po papasok yung tinatawag nila elque, es causa del causa, es causa del mal causado. Proximate cause. Okay, we have the sample case here, no? Pedro shoots at Juan but misses. Ibig sabihin, gustong barilin ni Pedro si Juan pero pinutukan niya, hindi po tinamaan. As a result, no, Juan runs, trips, and hits his head on the pavement. He dies of injury sustained on the fall. So, binaril mo, gusto mong barilin si Juan pero hindi mo tinamaan, no? Nataranta si Juan, tumakbo, natapilok, nadapa, no, tumama yung ulo niya doon sa pavement, sa kalsada, at yung pagtama ng ulo niya doon sa kalsada, yun yung naging dahilan kung bakit siya na-injured at namatay as a result. Okay, ang tanong po natin dito, no, ikaw ba, kung ikaw yung bumaril, no, like, is Pedro liable for the death of Juan? Yung bumaril ba kay Juan ay magiging liable, no? Kasi pwedeng sabihin ni Pedro, uy, teka lang, hindi ako nakapatay sa kanya kasi hindi ko naman siya tinamaan. But then again, we should always consider who is the cause of the proximate cause. Bakit ba kasi tumakbo si Pedro? Bakit ba tumakbo si Juan? It is because someone is shooting at him, and that is Pedro. Now, without Pedro shooting at him, hindi siya tatakbo. At pag hindi siya tumakbo, or wala siyang tinatakbuhan, hindi siya madadapa, hindi tatama yung ulo niya doon sa kalsada at hindi siya mamamatay. So it's clear here that Pedro is the proximate cause, no? That the act of shooting committed by Pedro, no, is the cause of the proximate cause, is the proximate cause of the death of Pedro, of death of Juan. So he will still be considered as liable for all that matter. Okay? So, maybe putulin ko yung discussion natin dito, guys, ano? Kasi it's already 6:02 in the morning and I still need to prepare and magtrabaho muna tayo. Okay. So, please stand by for the part 2 of our discussion. I hope to discuss shortly itong criminal law natin. Although napakahirap i-discuss kasi napakahaba ng discussion natin dito. But my intention is that I could help, no, at least at a little way on my own para sa pagre-review ninyo sa board examination. Okay. So that's it for today, guys. Thank you for listening. See you on the next video.